Good day each and everyone, and welcome to our presentation. First of all, let me start by saying a few words about our own background. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is a renal system. Renal system is a organ system that includes the kidneys, where urine is produced, and other ureters, bladder, and urethra for the passage, storage.
The renal system can hold about 22% of your entire body supply at any time. I've heard somewhere that you can have about 1.1 liters per minute of your blood flow through. And in a normal person, that's got about 5 liters of blood. That means that within 5 minutes, all of your blood will pass through your kidneys. So I think we should investigate further into how our kidneys work, and we'll start in this video with a brief overview before going into the specific parts of what are involved. So with these two kidneys right here, we're going to take in some blood that will come in through our renal artery and come out at the end through our ureters right there to produce urine. So that's sort of the overview look of what we're going to be doing here. And the reason why we do this is because there are cells in our body produce waste products or change up the acidity or the osmolality of our blood. And it is very important for us to regulate what is the pH of our blood, or how acidic it is, or how many osmoles we have, or things that dictate with ions or water flows. And our kidneys make sure that that's at a set level. So going into the details, when blood comes into our kidneys, they enter through the renal artery. So I've got two renal arteries right here and one right there. And as you can see, it's going to go branch off and have a whole bunch of other networks that are going to be disseminated from here. But what happens is that we're going to have filtration of our blood. And from that filtrate that comes out, we're going to process it and reabsorb some ions and water. And as we reabsorb the things that are important, we're going to collect it into our renal vein. So this is the renal vein. So here are the two blue renal veins right here for each of our kidneys. Our renal veins are going to take the returned or reabsorbed nutrients back into our blood and send it on its way. So now we know sort of how the blood enters and leaves. Now let's talk about the two main functions our kidneys are responsible. What are the two main functions that they need to carry out in order for us to filter our blood? So this is the first function you probably guess is filtration, and the second one is the collection. In filtration, we take our blood and we filter it out. So we have all our waste products and some important molecules like ions or amino acids or glucose that end up in a filtrate, then passes through the kidneys. So some things in that filtrate, we want to get rid all of the wasty stuff that we don't need. And so another, or the second very important function of our kidneys is collection. And between these two jobs, the kidney will take our blood and put out some urine. Now at this point, I should also mention that there's a single functional unit. And so when we will talk about our functions, there is a unit that we can talk about. The single smallest functional unit of a kidney is called the nephron. The nephron is responsible for filtration and collection. We'll talk about some other structures in a minute that are only responsible for collection, but the nephron is charged with filtration and collection, so it's got two hats on. The nephron is sort of situated in two parts of the kidney. The first part is sort of this outside area right here. You can kind of see that it's the shell of the kidney, and as a shell, we call it the renal cortex. So cortex is a term you probably heard of before. Cortex just means the shell. So that's this light tan part on the outside. These darker parts inside right here, there's a couple of them that you can see. This is sort of in the middle, and so we call that the renal medulla. The medulla just means the middle, so it's inside the cortex. So our nephron is situated between the cortex and the medulla. It sort of starts up here and squiggles around, and then it dips into your medulla, and then it jumps back out over here, and then it dips in again. Sort of all the separate parts of the nephron, but just understand that it dances between your cortex and your medulla. And where it's dancing determines whether it wants to reabsorb important things or allow some stuff to be collected into the urine. Now for the collection process, we have these little tips that are kind of kissing our renal medulla. So these little tips right here that collects the urine is, in the first place, the first point that urine sort of presents itself.
This is called the renal calyx. The renal calyx, and if we got a whole bunch of these, we call them the renal calyxes. The renal calyxes, that's the first part you're going to have urine be present. There is a whole bunch of this guy that meet together, and you've got the central area right there. The central area is called the renal pelvis. The renal pelvis, that just where all your calyces collect together. And once you have got the urine in your renal pelvis, it's going to go out this tube right here. And that's where urine is going to exit our kidneys. This tube right there is just called the ureter. The ureter, and we have got two ureters right here. That's going to send urine away from the kidneys into the bladder. And now that we have talked about the ureter, this is a pretty good time to mention what these three guys make together. Whatever you have got in organ like our kidneys right there, that's your kidney. And then there are some things that are coming out of your kidney. These three guys right here we call the place where we have got this tube or vessels coming out. The hilum. The hilum, if we have got more than one of them, we can call them the hila. But we got a renal artery, a renal vein, and a ureter coming out of the renal hilum over here. Alright, and that's the anatomical structures of our kidneys.